So today we are going to tell you the things we never expected or never knew when we started carrying a gun. And I have the lovely Miss Sexshot here to help me because some of these things pertain to her exclusively, some of them pertain to me, and some of them are kind of a cross between the things that we really had no idea existed when we first got into this. So we're going way back. We're going from the very beginning when we started all the way up until now. And when I gave you the idea for this video, the very first thing you said was...
how large a small gun looks when I can still carry it.
Right. So your very first gun was the Ruger SR9C. Now, when we started looking at guns, I thought these are compact guns, right? They're smaller than full size. They're not super small where you can't shoot them. I had the M&P Shield subcompact, and so I was like, these are perfect. What the heck do people have any kind of issue with trying to figure out what kind of gun they want to carry? But then when you started carrying that gun, you found out quickly that's not the case.
Right. It's a lot larger than it looks.
Yeah, and so that kind of nomenclature that gun companies use, although it's not really deceptive, it's a compact gun in their lineup.
Right.
But when you wear tighter fitting clothing like you do, you know, and obviously most women do, it becomes an issue. So I think you initially, if I can remember, that was like 9 years ago, you initially tried to carry that small at the back. You tried to carry it inside like 3 to 4 o'clock position. None of that worked, right?
No, I tried the front, like near my front of the stomach. I tried my purse. I tried...
The purse was about the only option you could carry that, and that's obviously not ideal.
Right.
But that is a very large gun. So you want to keep that in mind. If you're carrying inside the waistband, which is what I recommend, I even hate it when she still carries in a purse. I don't like it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you're going to look at the nomenclature, the best way to do this, honestly, is to try to get to a gun shop or get somebody that has a good variety of these things and maybe ask them, hey, you know, can I try these on? Or, you know, let your husband buy a bunch of guns and then you can try them all out, you know? So don't be stingy.
You know, that works out too.
So, yeah, definitely small guns look like they are, and sometimes just the writing on the gun, the way the gun is presented looks like it would be the perfect carry gun, but that's not always the case. And then the next one you got was the M&P Shield. So that was better in that it was smaller.
Right.
Right? A little bit harder to shoot, but that shield still prints pretty bad on you.
Yeah, too big.
4 to 5 o'clock position. We have the Shield Plus. We're going to show some of these things. Obviously, these aren't the same exact guns that we had before, but you'll still get the idea of how much these things really do print. Right. So that goes to the next one that we want to talk about. You know, and I think this is kind of the balancing act that I've talked about before. If you can't carry a gun that's that large, and by the way, I don't think most men have that issue with a shield, even you know, some of your Glocks and stuff like that. If you have a good gun belt, good holster, you're able to carry, you know, quite a bit of weight comfortably. But at the same time, now you don't want to go too small. So we do have a good example, the LCP Max. Now this is a pretty awesome gun actually for what it is, but I think the Glock 42 is about the biggest gun that you can carry where it's basically no printing.
Right. And it's comfortable. It's comfortable.
Right. Well, yeah, comfortable on you, but when we took these out to the range, this was very recent. You remember how much better I thought the Glock 42 was better. But
I was about to say, I like the Glock 42 better.
Yeah, yeah. It was just a better experience, I think, all the way around, although the LCP Max has some advantages with the additional rounds. Super tiny. I mean, almost anybody could carry that in a pocket. We even have a holster for this thing, and it is just like nothing.
Yep.
It's like carrying nothing. I mean, it really is. Now, one thing that we didn't have before that we have now, like when we first started, outside the waistband carry was not an option. Now it is. And most of the time on the weekends, you're carrying outside the waistband, and that really does help you a lot.
It does. It does. I can carry, see, for me, like the smaller guns, even though they're better for me concealed carry-wise, I prefer a larger size gun to shoot. So like the M&P Shield, I really like the P365.
Which is the one you're carrying now.
Right.
Yep.
What else?
Well,
Shield Plus, I really like the Shield Plus a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, those are my main three that I kind of
bounce between.
right.
Yeah, because I think, well, you could do the equalizer too. Not the EZ that we have right here, but the equalizer right here. That's one that you can do. Outside the waistband just gives you more options.
Yes.
But again, if you have to balance these things. It's all a balancing act. No matter what, in my opinion, no matter what anybody says, there will always be compromise between this carry gun and this one. Either this one's going to be a little bit too small, but easier to carry, or this one's going to be a little bit bigger, but it's going to be more weight and a little more difficult to carry. Point is, you can do it, but it might take some trial and error in order to find that perfect carry gun, if you will. So another thing I wanted to talk about when I first started this, I did not realize how many people are divided when it comes to guns. Now you may be saying, well, what does that have to do with concealed carry? Well, when I started getting into this, I started voting. I started caring more about, rights and who's in charge. And these people are talking about taking away guns. This is ridiculous. And then I started to kind of get into some of the politics and stuff because I feel like it's something that you have to do. And when you start to realize how divided not only our own community can be, but the difference between people that, there's kind of three camps, I think. There's the hardcore people, all about the Second Amendment. You better not give them an inch. There are the FUDs, if you will, where shotguns are great, but that AR-15, no sir. That type of people. And then you have the one, well, maybe four camps. You have the ones that are kind of like, well, yeah, guns are okay. Or I like guns, but I don't own any.
Right,
And then you
right.
also have the people that are just like totally anti-gun. And then people that are divided in just in our group or the people that kind of treat this as a lifestyle compared to people that just,
A hobby.
people that see it as a hobby. Yeah, people, exactly. And so when you start to get into this, don't be surprised if you kind of get sucked into some of the politics and stuff, and if you start paying attention to things that are going on, and when it comes to like the pistol brace rule, and you're like, well, what the hell? I was able to buy this last year. Now all of a sudden they're telling me I have to register. So I'm not saying it will consume you, but at the same time, you on some level, it's good to kind of get involved because I can assure you there are people every single day trying to come up with some type of scheme to stop you from not only carrying a gun but owning a gun, and that is the truth about it. Now, when it comes to people that are divided inside of the community, it's more of a, well, my Glock is better, my Smith & Wesson is better. And we kind of all play into that. Like, I like a bunch of different guns, but there are some brand specifics, or there are some brands that I prefer over others too. And that's kind of the cool part about it. We have so many different options that, when it comes to carry gun, I can say your Glock sucks, but at the end of the day, if you're carrying a gun and I'm carrying a gun, we're on the same team. So most of the time when I see people that are really divided inside the community, it's not, the brand specific people. It's more of like the FUDs and the people that truly believe in our right to self-defense. The next thing we want to talk about is how the smaller guns kind of really suck to shoot. And so you brought up a good point about this.
Yeah, so for me, for a long time there, because the guns were so small, they really hurt to shoot. And it kind of put me off concealed carry for a while there. It was like, well, if I'm only limited to these size guns and they hurt so bad to shoot, I'm not going to really deal with it then.
You're not really going to want to do it. And
Right.
So that's a problem.
Right.
Especially now the smaller the gun, any carry gun, you have to practice with it.
Right.
And we're going to talk about that here in a minute. But the smaller the gun, you've seen this a lot. I've seen this a lot. And honestly, I felt like I kind of did a good job by picking out our first guns because I didn't pick the smallest gun for you. So it gave you an opportunity to learn at least, right? But that is a common thing, dude. You know, guys walk into the gun shop with their ladies and they're like, "Oh my God, that is so perfect. It's small, just like her hand. She's gonna love it." Until you take her to the range and she's like, "Wow, this really sucks."
Hurts.
You know, so again, that's a balancing act. And you actually try. I mean, you've tried all of the carry guns, from the shields to the, we had the XDS for a while, the PPS, all of them, to
LCP,
try to
LCP2.
make them work, and none of them did.
No.
As far as like inside the waistband carry. So, the smaller guns, they are going to be more painful. Now, again, I have every reason to believe that if she is in a self-defense situation and she has to pull out the LCP max, she's going to be able to effectively put shots on target. I believe in her to do that, but not everybody is going to take that time to learn this gun, or not everybody wants to do that. And that kind of leads us into our next thing, which is practice, and how much practice it takes to become a good shooter. We did it the hard way. Probably not even the way I would recommend, because we wasted a lot of rounds downrange trying to learn how to shoot. Now, a better way, in my opinion, would have been go to somebody that knows what they're doing. We can take those things and practice the right way.
Right.
What I did is I would watch a bunch of YouTube videos. So I've credited a lot of these guys in the past before, from Iraq veteran to James Yeager and many others. You know, I would take those ideas, I would take them to the range, I would try to show her as well, and it just finally started to click, and then we started to become better shooters. But it took a lot. I mean, it really did. So I feel like it's something you want to invest time, money into. It's definitely worth it. And, knowing that you're efficient and effective behind that gun.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, you can see the transition in our videos.
Yeah.
Like if you go to the beginning of our channel, it was like, oh my gosh, look how bad. Oof.
I used to send videos to friends and stuff, and they'd be like, "Man, I think you need to spend more time shooting and less time talking." So, anyways,
come a long way. We've come a long way.
Yeah, and now I'm starting to transition. Y'all seen in one of the recent videos we did, where I'm starting to move a little bit while I'm shooting, and so working that in, getting my heart rate up. So there's a lot to it, man. It really has become a lifestyle. It really is a lifestyle for us. It's not just something we do and then we turn off the camera and we're like, oh God, put the guns back in the safe. It's literally all day, every day. So the last thing I want to talk about, man, is pretty personal to me, but it can help you too. I never expected to be, and I say this very loosely, the authority on guns, okay? And what I mean by that is people in my circle on a daily basis, people that I've met through work or, wherever, they look to me for information. And I don't mind giving it. I stream 4, 5, 6 times a week, playing Call of Duty on one of my other channels, and we're always talking about guns, and I try to give as much information out as I possibly can. Good information. And so you may find yourself in that position when you start getting into this and you get deeper and deeper and deeper, and people start realizing, oh man, so-and-so Conceal carries. You may start giving out information, and you want to give out as good of information as you possibly can. Now, I still feel like I'm in the infancy stage in some parts of guns, like rifles, shotguns. I mean, I have a lot to learn, but I want to learn those things, right? And so that's where y'all will see some of that other stuff that starts to come up on the channel when it comes to rifles and, suppressors again, which we used to do a long time ago, but, suppressors. There's all kinds of things that I want to learn. And if I don't know, I just tell you, I don't know, right? But you've even had this too, which is kind of cool. People asking you.
At work. People at work, yeah.
Like, hey, will they take me, hey, can you take me and, teach me how to use a gun? So that's a pretty cool thing. You may become, the person that people look up to for information. And so that's a pretty cool thing. Anytime somebody comes to me and their wheels are already spinning, thinking about concealed carry and all this kind of stuff, that is a great moment where you can not only bring in somebody that is a gun owner, but hopefully somebody that will vote towards people that will protect those rights. You never know what kind of rabbit hole that can actually take you down. So these are the things we didn't know when I started carrying a gun. I had no idea what this would turn into. I want to hear some of those things from y'all down below, man. What are some of the most important things that you've learned in your journey along the way? I may use those things in a future video as well. Big thanks to you guys. And if you want to support what I do here, you can subscribe to the channel. Absolutely free. Drop me a like, share the video with your friends. Also, if you want to support us further, you can do that on Patreon or join the channel right here. A bunch of cool tier rewards and all kinds of stuff. Big thanks to you guys. See you in the next one. And as always, hold them down.